Hello, my name is Don Nelson. I am publisher of Cutting Tool Engineering and Micro Manufacturing magazines, and I am here at IMTS 2014, specifically at the booth of THINBIT Kaiser Tool, and I am here with the president of THINBIT Kaiser, Lenore Perry, and this year THINBIT is celebrating its 50th anniversary. So first of all, congratulations on that. That's quite an accomplishment. Very excited. And if you could just give us a little information about how the company got started and your involvement in it.
Well, the company was started officially in 1964 by my parents, Bill and Hazel Kaiser. But way back in the 1950s, my dad was a job shop man, which meant that he would knock on doors of other companies asking them if they had any work that they could farm out to him. And of course, he was always given the jobs that A, had to be done overnight, and B, were probably the most difficult jobs. And then C, they wanted them done for no money. Yeah. So there you go. So in doing all of this, Dad thought, he was always trying to make small grooves, and he thought, if I have to make these tools on my own to make these small grooves, I wish I could buy them. But if I tried to buy them, it would take maybe 6 weeks to get them and would cost me an arm and a leg, and I don't have the time nor the money to purchase them on the outside. So what if I could manufacture grooving tools and manufacture them in 1,000 increments so that for whatever job a person had out there, I would have the exact tool size that they would need and have them available to ship within 24 hours for not a lot of money, maybe I would have something. So that was the birth of the idea, and it took my dad, I think he told me about 7 years, because he would do his day job and then he'd go back down to the garage and work on this at night to develop it, and he had various designs. He tested them, didn't work, tested them, didn't work. He finally got a design that worked, and in 1964, with the trade name THINBIT, he started manufacturing and selling the product, and it was a very small line. It was high-speed steel inserts, 10 thousandths through 50 thousandths in 1,000 increments, and 3 small tool holders.
Okay.
And that's how it started.
Wow. And how did you get involved in the business?
Well, I was a little kid at the time.
Yeah.
I'd like to say I wasn't born yet, but that wasn't true. But I was a little kid at the time. And the office was in the attic of our 950 square foot house with the pull down attic stairs.
Okay.
And the walls, you know, going like this. And Mom did the books up there, and then in the garage, which was on the back, it wasn't connected to the house, it was along the alley. It was an old-fashioned kind of house and garage setup. Was the very small machine shop where Dad did the manufacturing. And so far as the office side is concerned, many years ago I found general ledger entries made in my 3rd grade scrawl.
Wow.
And but then oh my, I don't know what the accountant thought of that, but anyway, then for my dad helping him, initially all of the inserts were high-speed steel, and they had to be sent out to be heat treated. And he sent them out in Maxwell House coffee cans. And there was the bigger cans, you know, the ones about like that. So they held a lot of inserts.
Yeah. Wow.
My job, and I did not like this job, my job was in our kitchen of our 950 square foot house. So right there, you know how small the kitchen was. I would clear off the kitchen table, lay newspapers down, dump out a coffee can full of all of these high-speed inserts, which would have splinters on them. You know, they were not finished inserts. And they were oily, and I'd have to count them. But I had to count them twice to make sure I didn't mess up. And then when I got done, I had to put them all back in the can and put the number on the top. And then that was the can that went to heat treat. Unfortunately, when it came back, I had to do the same thing. Twice, counting. And so I would go to grade school, and my hands would have cuts on them, and my fingers would be dirty and oily, and I was a girl, you know. And at times, my teachers and my fellow classmates would just look at me as if, Lenore, what's this about? And I thought, I can never really explain this. But so that's how it started. And then I worked and helped Mom and Dad all through high school and college years. And then I went to work. My undergraduate degree was in computer technology, so I went to work and developed medical data processing computer systems and stuff like that. But in 1980, Mom and Dad at that point wanted to walk away from the business. I was an only child, and the business was very small. And they said, "Are you interested?" And I thought and thought, and it took me 2 years actually to decide, because I knew that I liked what I was doing, and I knew that if I made the decision to go with them, I likened it to the holodeck on Star Trek. That I would walk in and the door would disappear behind me, and whether I loved it or not, Lenore, this is your life now. You got to go with this.
You were all in.
Yeah, nothing, all or nothing.
Yeah.
So I could not have done that, and a year or 2 years later say, "Gee, Mom and Dad, I'm sorry about that. I don't like it. I'm out of here." I would never have done that.
Yeah.
So it took me a couple of years, but I decided, and pretty much the rest is history. And that was in 1980.
So, and that's when you became the president?
No, Dad was still president, and I was vice president. And then Dad pretty much retired about 1982 or 83. And my mom stayed on till the mid-80s and helped me with the books before I could get them all on computer systems.
Yeah.
And then she retired.
Well, you know, but there's been a tremendous amount of growth. You started out making just grooving tools, and now you've got a variety of lines. What else do you have?
We make internal and external grooving tools, face grooving tools. We make parting tools, boring tools, threading tools. So a lot of different applications, all for turning applications.
Yeah, and to be commended. I mean, it would have been not easy, but certainly easier just to continue on with the initial grooving tools, but to expand
and you had to for survival.
Yeah.
I mean, even though initially our 1,000th increments, and even today that is unusual in the marketplace, but we have a lot of competition out there. I mean, there are a lot of other tools that groove.
Yeah.
And so you have to keep on growing or you don't survive.
Yeah. Okay. Well, one of the things I wanted to ask is, what in those 50 years, what would have been some of the challenges that your company's had to overcome? I think we had written an article 10 years ago, and you talked about the recession at that time, and since then, since 2004, there's been another recession. So what kind of challenges have you
Well, initially,
had to overcome?
I think because we were so small, no one knew of us, and so you have to spend money to make money, but if you have very little money to spend, how do you spend money to make money? And that's just not only raw material and things like that and machinery, it's advertising. Our very first ad Mom and Dad placed was in a publication that no longer is around called Blue Book. You probably remember that. And it was a 1/8 page strip ad, black and white.
Yeah.
And that was the very first ad. So you just have to have your objectives in mind, and you have to just work really hard and try to do what you can do with the money you've got, and hope sometimes the bank lends you a little money that you can pay back. And I always tried very hard to not get into debt too much, because we were small, and if I did get into debt, I would try to pay it off as quickly as I could so that I could go on to my next objective. And you know, it's just stepping stones. You build a little foundation, you get a little more, you build a little more, you have a little bigger reputation. You have repeat customers, which is the most important thing. You know, new customers are great, but repeat, you want them coming back. And we built that loyalty, we built brand recognition. It was just a process. Just a process.
One of the questions I was going to ask you was like, what's been the secret to your success? And it sounds like you just gave me the secret to your success. Sticking with what you know, not overextending yourself.
We never made pizza.
Yeah. Well, now that we've got 50 years behind you, what lies ahead for THINBIT Kaiser?
We are continuing to add to our product lines, and we have some things which I really cannot divulge at this point, but there are some things we think coming down the road that's going to take us to the next step. So,
okay. So you're not just resting on your laurels. There's the next 50 years to go here.
Can't.
Good for you.
Can't.
One thing I'd like to mention is that you put together a book
kind of to go along with the 50th anniversary. And I believe you'd like to read something from it. What do you have?
This kind of sums up the company in my mind, and I wrote this as the introduction to the book. So if you wouldn't mind,
No,
I'd like to read it. 50 years is a long time for any company, and is particularly amazing for a small manufacturing company. The idea of THINBIT grooving tools, its start in a garage and attic, and its subsequent growth to where it is today is a wonderful story. A story that speaks of the tenacity of its founders, William and Hazel Kaiser, and the hard work and resilience of its people throughout these past 50 years.
That's very lovely. It's very nice. And I wish you the best of luck in the next 50 years.
Thank you very much.
It's been a delight.
Thank you.
All right.